Wow. Am I recording just like that? At the click of a button. Whew. Okay, I don't think I'm ready. I was meaning to just set up the broadcast. Okay, let's see. Yep. Okay, so it's happening, guys. It's happening, and I'm here, and I've just woken up, and I was thinking of maybe going outside and and sunning in the sun and doing a lovely little talk. But then I thought, no, I'll just check to see how it's working here. And here I am. Okay, so, right. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I haven't thought really of what to say. Okay, so here I am. And I'll have a sip of my coffee. And I'll just. Okay, I don't know when I last did this. I'm hoping not so long ago. It's meant to be every Sunday, isn't it? But I can never remember when it's Sunday and what I'm meant to be doing. Okay, but today I'm here, even though I'm not ready. And this is the way I get done. It's like going when I was a little girl. We used to live in what is now Zimbabwe, and it's really close to the equator. And it's just the most perfect place in the whole world. The sun comes up, it's sort of about 6 in the morning, and you get this lovely warm day with blue skies. And then by about 2 o'clock, it's really hot, and these great, huge white thunderclouds have built up. And then the heavens open and it pours down for about an hour or two. And the heat breaks and the dust goes. And then the rain finishes. And then you have these lovely evenings, warm, pleasant. You go home and the little beetle things are going chirp, chirp, all around you in the bush. And me, memories, fantasies of memories. It was a nice, yeah. And you used to go swimming. Like here in New Zealand, it's a torture to go swimming. It's like, I remember once my son saying, Mum, Mum, ran into the room, Mum, Mum, I've got to the beach right now. I said, dude, how can we go to the beach right now? No, no, we got to go to the beach right now. It's awful. I've got to swim. Okay, whatever. Off we jumped down to the beach, ran in the water, and he was this little tiny, little skinny little stick. Ran to jumped in the waves. Literally about 3 minutes. Came out with blue lips. Shh. I'm done. Yeah, that's swimming in New Zealand. It's, oh, I don't know why people do it. But in Africa, you used to do it to get out of the heat. And you would be all hot and sweaty and sticky and over hot. You know, it's 30 degrees C. I don't know how much that is in Fs. And you needed to go, but the water would be cold, cold, cold. And you'd have to jump in the water to break the heat and the thing, and you'd have to jump, and you'd have to have that. I remember us standing on the edge of the pool, you know, looking at each other. Who's going first? All together, 1, 2, 3. And hold hands. The jump, the great, yeah, not ready jump, I suppose. And then you do it, and the icy, icy cold water washes everything off you, and it's the shock, and you come out of the water, and you're Oh, yeah. I don't know why I'm telling you that. It's early, guys. It's early. I'm waking up. All right, coffee time. Coffee time. This isn't coffee. This isn't coffee. This is chai. And I don't know what chai is. And I haven't read the packet. They come in little packets mixed up of the milk and the sugar and I guess sugar, whatever it is. So I just pour something in and pour water in and it gets the stuff. It's turmeric chai. I'm drinking it for the turmeric. I love the turmeric. Anyway, right. So I'm here and I'm not ready and I woke up and I checked my cell phone and there was this thing recommended for me of somebody I sort of follow on, I don't know if follow is the word, I sort of notice stuff that he does. He's a musician guy, a youngster. And for the last couple of days, there's been this thing coming up in his feed about what happened to his daughter in hospital and how people treated him. And I've been like, I'm not interested. Anyway, it keeps coming up. So today I thought, all right, well, the algorithm really wants me to listen to this. And it was this long and involved, ridiculous story of, I don't even want to get into it. And I switched it off. And I thought, wow, really? You did that? You did that, Bob? You switched off something? You were that? It's a very interesting and strange thing that started happening. There's this sort of decisiveness. Decisiveness? I don't know. Let me explain it and then you maybe have the word for what is happening. Okay, so I used to tell you a lot that I can't tell the difference between right and wrong. I don't know what's a lie and what's the truth. I don't know what to do. I don't understand. I'm so scared of everything. And I felt as if my world was sort of this great big turmoil. And I used to call it potato soup when I was on the psychiatric drugs. And they gave me all these things. And let's not go into that. Okay. They don't work. They just don't work. And it's just so wrong to put people on these terrible drugs. There's been studies done that have shown that most of the SSRIs work as well as talk therapy does, which is like we talk to each other. As we heal, we talk to each other. It used to be, before we were all working for a living and being upright citizens and proving what good people we were by holding down a job, before we all got conned by that delusion, there used to be people who worked shorter hours or worked on the lands and had spare time in between their duties. And when you had problems, you used to be able to go off with somebody, you know? And you used to be able to go somewhere and talk about stuff. You go and you were herding the cows, and as you were herding the cows, you'd have a patch where you stopped under a tree and you'd talk together about stuff, and you'd say, man, I still miss my dad. I wish he hadn't died. And say, yeah, and it's so awful, and my grandmother's got coughing disease. I don't know. Used to be able to have those times where you talk to people, and now we don't have that. We're all busy chasing the filthy dollar. And so we have to find somebody and pay them to be able to say those things. And so we work through our pains and our issues, and we call it therapy instead of friendship. And it doesn't work because healing works. I want to talk about that in a minute. Yeah. All right, so medicines and this brain fog that I used to get and the heavy, heavy sedation of the medicine. That doesn't work any better than talk therapy or normal healing. But after I came off the medicines, that feeling of confusion and uncertainty didn't fade, didn't go away. And it's been a very long, slow, miserable slog through alternative explorations that I'm still in, okay? And not that that's not happening. That's still a part of, yeah, that's still ongoing. However, this strange breakthrough that's happened for me in the last little while. The other day, I was talking to somebody about this delusional state that I sort of exist in, where I feel that everyone is criticizing me, rejecting me, putting me down, making me look stupid. And it's definitely coming from actual people, right? These are people doing this to me. And so a week, 2 weeks ago, I can't remember when it was, I thought to myself, look, I've really got to see what's going on here. I've got to see if I stop smoking the weed, if this will change, if this is a paranoia related to the substance, or if it's some deeper delusion that I have. And I've told my psychologist, I've told friends, I've told my partner, I've tried to tell family members all about these delusional thoughts that I have. And nobody talks back to me about it. I don't know if it's embarrassing or if people just, I don't know what it is. I'm not looking out at me. I'm stuck inside here trying to figure out what's happening in this scrambled egg that is in the place of my brain. However, so a little while ago, a week or 2 weeks ago, I stopped smoking. And then, of course, there's a difference between causation and correlation. Did I stop smoking because I was changing? Or did I stop smoking and then change? So I'm not trying to bring any conclusions to this conversation. I'm just trying to report the process at this stage. So I woke up in the morning 3 or 4 days ago, and the delusion started. It started like, this person's doing that, that's going to happen, this is going to be this. And a voice inside me that has not spoken since I was a little girl, a voice inside me that sounded like my mother's voice, said, "Don't be ridiculous. That has not happened. That has not happened." Okay, that voice hasn't spoken again. But that feeling of having a perception and an understanding of what is ridiculous and what is a worthy thought and what is a thought to be just chased out, that seems to stayed. So this morning I was watching this video about this guy talking about this thing happened in the hospital and they cut off the oxygen pipe to his child and this thing, and then blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's true, and it could be true, but it's not something that I can spend time on. It's not something that I can spend time on. And I closed the video. And this other video popped up of this man standing somewhere in the top of a mountain with a little sort of rusticy village behind him. And there was a wire. There was like an electricity pole there with one wire going towards the village, one sort of crinkly wire, not even a full wire. Not even, one of those stretched. And he was saying, it's silly for people to tell you to let things go. When an apple is growing in a tree, the apple grows in the tree, and the apple grows, and when you try to pull the apple out of the tree, it hangs on, it's there, it's growing in the tree. It doesn't come off, it's not ready to come off. And one day you go to that apple and you put your hand on the apple and it falls into your hand. It lets go. It just lets go. And he was talking about, you don't let go. As you go along and as healing happens in your life, suddenly you see it's gone. It's let go. It's not a thing you do. It's a result of a natural process that just happens. I like that. I like that. I'm experiencing that. I'm experiencing that practically. Things are changing for me. I am not so much doing things as going with the flow, allowing changes to happen around me, and finding that I'm no longer feeling that these changes are being done to me. So I like that a lot. I like that a lot. And I think that's hugely significant, is that we can trust in the process of life. Time passes and things happen. When Carly died, somebody said, it's okay, it's only 5 years, it's 5 years of grief, blah, 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 you'll get over it. And 5 years of feeling this, how can I get through it? And then somebody said, I spoke to something when this guy had a young son of about 22 or 23 who was swimming in the ocean, and a current caught him and took him out. And she said, I spoke to him the other day, blah, 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 and it's 10 years. It's his 10-year anniversary since such and such was killed. And for the first time in 10 years, I heard a note of joy in his voice. And 10 years? I thought 5 years. 10? Anyway, it's about 4.5 years now, so I guess I'm coming up to the first great milestone. It reminds me when I was in Invercargill and I was on welfare, and here on welfare, you don't just sit on welfare, you have a plan. They help you to work through a plan and to get off welfare, right? So for me, I was in teaching, and they said, oh, that's far too stressful for you. You can't go back to teaching. You'll have to retrain as something else. And I was like, well, surely I can have no, you can't. You've got to retrain. We'll put you on this program. And anyway, so I wasn't in a good way, and I thought that I was listening to good advice, and now looking back, I don't. But at the time, I thought that I was listening to what the establishment said and being a good girl and concurring with the authorities and, oh, you know, all those delusions we have. That was 20 years ago. It was 20 years ago. Whew, how times have changed. Okay, so focus. I went on to welfare because of the troubles and put on the medicine, and then I must retrain. So I said to her, well, look, what about if I retrain and do some art work? You know, we do some formal art, and then I can be an art teacher. Surely that would be a step into something less stressful. Oh, well, it never worked out. However, long convoluted backstory. I went to the Southland Institute of Technology there, which had just started doing degree courses. So I did a second degree. I did a Bachelor of Applied Visual Media, which was fascinating and wonderful, and was, in fact, a retraining, because all this video work that I've been doing has come as a result of doing digital photography and understanding all those things. Okay, so the story that I was going to tell you was I met this guy, because of course I want to meet a guy. Always meet a guy. Always, it's always meet a guy. And his 13-year-old daughter had died of cancer 3 years ago. And he'd gone to art school to retrain and get off the benefits and get back into society. And so we were both these two sad sacks, he with this terrible grieving of his daughter, and me with my terrible grieving of my, you know, all the domestic stuff. And on the fifth anniversary of his daughter's death, it was hugely significant for him. And I didn't understand. I thought it was just, it was a good number, you know, 5, and we were going to do something. So he invited all his gangster friends around, and we all move on to the next conversation. Oh me, oh my, I am not a good judge of character. Can we just, looking at my history, I don't need to explain that, do I? However, the 5-year anniversary of Carly's death is coming up in September. It's about 5 or 6 months ago. Away, in front of me, ago. Goodness me, that's a Freudian slip. And so I've had this amazing thing where I've had this voice come up, this intention come up inside of me, without me seeking it. That's the thing that's fascinating me. Without me seeking it. Without me working through my issues or analyzing or seeking insight. I just got up, had some wild thoughts. This person doesn't like me. That person's going, I'm going to this. Yeah, tragedy in the morning. And that's ridiculous. And since that moment, I have begun to think differently. That was obviously the eruption of a thought path, and it is persisting. And so, yesterday when I just did that little check-in video on the way home from town, I mentioned the 2 projects the new projects that had come up, and I want to talk about them a little bit more, in a bit more detail. There are so many things, so many wonderful, wonderful, wonderful things that are happening for me as a result. I don't want to cry. It's happy tears. It's happy tears. I won't inflict them on you. But when I realized about 8 or 9 years ago that the psychiatric drugs were damaging me and not helping me, I looked for other ways, and I found this amazing video that I show everybody. And yeah, even my psychiatrist, I made him sit and watch the video with me. And I said, listen, I know you know all this stuff. I'm not trying to educate you, but you need to hear where I'm at. So I forced him to sit and listen to this video with me by a fellow called Johan Hari, who was absolutely trashing the whole notion of chemical hooks keeping you addicted, and saying addiction is nothing to do with the substance that you're taking. Addiction is to do with your disconnection from life. And so I started looking for connection. And the first thing I did was join Facebook, and then I got so tired of the little 14-year-old slap fights. But I dislike that childish, adversarial childishness so much. Anyway, somebody suggested Minds to me. I went and found Minds and a few other little platforms and stayed with Minds, and then got heartbroken when Minds changed their business plan away from a sort of a tokenized participation reward system. And Do Better at the time, Do Better was also struggling like me, I think, or also sort of, similar trajectory. And he had found a different sort of coin. So he introduced me to MintMe. And I went and joined, and I thought that I was so awesome. Now I've joined this crypto community. And that was it. That was all I did. I joined the crypto community. For 4 years, I was fine. Just having signed up, that was enough. Oh, this phone is irritating me. Why is it on and on and on and on, nagging at me? Oh, crap, that's happening somewhere else. Okay, sorry. Let me stop this. I don't know what's the best way to do it. Airplane mode? There we go. That'll work. Right. I hope it will work. What was I saying? Something Do Better. MintMe community. MTCG community. So a little while ago, I rejoined it. My journey actually took me closer. In fact, it was through the Infinite Imaginarium, was it? And I made some little tutorial videos trying to understand what was going on. Totally failed. Totally messed everything up. Bought high, sold low, sold people's tokens when I should have been buying them. Oh me, oh my, it was so embarrassing and so ashamed to try and ask for help, because please help me learn how to do 1 + 1. It was so basic, and yet I just couldn't get it. However, then Jolly Lama from Decent Smart Homes took me aside and gave me some amazing lessons and said, look, people are here to trade. They're here to make money. If you make mistakes, they're not going to tell you. They're just going to take advantage of it. It's up to you to understand what you're doing. It took me a few months to absorb that, really. And then it took me a few more months to very tentatively try to place a buy order. Anyway, I'm mostly doing it now without too many mistakes. And I'm learning how to back my project, and that backing other people's projects doesn't speak as loudly as backing your own project. And now I've got to the stage where I've realized that it's actually not about the financial value that you put onto your books. It's about the actual world value that you put into the community. And here I am cycling right back to that video that I found years and years and years ago, that addiction is not about a drug, a substance. Addiction is about a disconnection. And here I am connecting, overcoming these disconnections. And disconnection not meaning not being part of something. Disconnection meaning that somehow in your brain you can't understand where other people are coming from, right? And so you sort of grope for, what do you mean? Where are you coming from? What's going on? Yeah. And that sort of floundering around to not know, and this great, huge feeling that I had that I never knew what was going on. Well, now I can look back and see, right. That's what, when people look at you and they see you behaving like that, they go, well, they're very disconnected from reality. Wow, yeah, was I ever? And still, I'm not that I'm not now. Okay, so this I'm experiencing and living. I'm living this mind change. Oh, beg your pardon. This mind changing experience of beginning to understand where people are coming from. I don't really get it. Okay, I don't really get it. It takes me a lot of questions, and some people are very sensitive and prickly about answering personal questions, and that's also another minefield that I don't really understand. But seeing the perseverance, seeing the ongoing journey, seeing how it's actually happening, and I don't need to make something happen. I need to allow the connections, allow the friendships, allow people to offer me their companionship without being afraid, which is also tricky, because there are people who offer you companionship for ulterior motives. Whew. Wow. See, this is why I didn't do it. This is why I disconnected from the world. It was too hard. I couldn't figure this all out. Anyway. So Do Better brought me to Mint.me. And years later, I'm starting to see that I'm right. I'm right. This was what we needed. This was what it was. The community, the people being together, the interaction, the forgiveness, the reaching out, the asking for clarification, the forgiveness, acceptance, joy, sharing. I don't know. Yeah. So, my partner's mother turns 90 in a few days' time, and we're going today to celebrate her 90th birthday. So I'm going to go, and I'm going to try and be normal for a little bit. I am very, very scared of doing something in real life with real people. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Yeah, a bit silly of me. But, so I'm doing this, and I'm telling you about Do Better. So, sorry guys. Do better. Right. Now, if I was recording, I'd be able to just cut this bit out and you wouldn't know. But you're here, you're watching. Do Better is doing something totally bizarre. So bizarre that I can't get my head around it. He has a bicycle, and he is bicycling up from Florida to the top, Maine, all along one. Things that men do never cease to amaze me. At least he's not white water rafting or jumping off a bridge with a string tied to his feet. He's just going on a bicycle ride for months and months and months. Right. And he wants a social media manager, and he's asked me. He asked me months ago, about 6 months ago. And I was like, I can't do it. I'm too useless. I will get it wrong. All these things that come from lack of confidence that people call excuses, that are just some sort of pathetic cry from a disturbed mind. Wouldn't the world be wonderful if we knew how to reach people who are in distress? Somebody said to me a couple of weeks ago, nobody can reach you. And I thought, yeah, nobody can reach me, eh? All right. So I have a project ahead of me on learning how to be a social media manager with somebody else's help, somebody who has years and years and years of experience, not doing social media stuff, but airplane mode doesn't work. Okay, so what do I need to put? What mode do I need to put on here? Super silent. Oh, I know. There's maybe a do not disturb mode, is there? Yeah, look, there we go. Until I turn it off. That might be a few days because I might forget that I did that. All right. Goodness me, I am waffly, aren't I? Phew, I wasn't ready. Okay. So what I have is an opportunity ahead of me to work with somebody who's very, very onto it and really understands how social media works. And he's prepared to help me go at my own pace to discover. And we have to, I think the first thing we have to discover is how to set up maybe an email client. I have got MailChimp, which is linked to the Not a Party website. So I can go and check with the party secretary, who's just such a great guy, and we can get that all working. And then maybe I can get the MailChimp working for Not a Party and the MailChimp working for Do Better. And we can send out circular letters, because what we really need for both places are sponsorships. With Not a Party, it was the sort of local anarchist party in New Zealand, and I don't know if it's going to stay that or if it's going to just morph into an international organization. But what we need there is what Richard would like there is 500 members. I think that's what you have to do to get a party list. Now that's huge dissonance, cognitive dissonance for me. A party list for a party that doesn't want votes. However, MailChimp, let's focus on the important things. And Do Better would like sponsorship so that he can live this wild life on the road, going out and getting what Jolly said was his God bod. Yes, we need sponsorships. So that's a huge, huge project. If I think about it, it's overwhelming, and I can't possibly do it. But if I do it one day at a time, and if I'm telling the truth that this is this unfolding of life around you and you don't need to this and that, you can just live through it and trust healing and blah, blah. I mean, I don't know if that's true. I'm going to test it and see if it's true for the next little while. It seems to be working better than all my desperate searching after healing. Just allowing healing to come seems to be helping more. Okay, so I'm very excited about that in a very hesitant way. Still thinking that I'm going to fail, but having been given the hard word and saying, if you think that, then you will, so stop thinking it. Seems logical, right? Then the next thing that I'm doing is something that I am so pleased about, because it's another huge, big step out of my comfort zone. My comfort zone being about that big. Last night, I put an application in to Artisan, which is a match funding organization. I don't quite understand it. Apparently, it's called Quadratic Funding. And people contribute to it. People give you funds. They put funds onto your fundraising campaign. And then this fund matches those funds. So whatever you raise from your people, you get double. That sounds like a good option to me. However, I don't think that it'll work, and I don't think that I'm going to get enough votes to get in. However, I made the application. Even if this doesn't pan out, even if this is I've bitten off too much to chew at this early stage, I've sort of just stepped out and acted in faith and said, all right, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to put in this application, not worrying about whether I'm going to get rejected. Because, yeah, rejection. And like, really, does it matter? I started thinking to myself, what I really want to do is I want to let the family know that I'm serious about doing this thing and that it is happening. And I'm not just floundering around saying, I want to try and do this, I want to try and do that, and I can't do that. And then, don't worry, dear, you can try again. And maybe they will still think that. But maybe next time I'll do a better one. And maybe the next time I'll do a better one. And maybe one day I will do one. Yeah? And I will pull it off. So for me, that I did it. Me, I did the thing. I sat down. I wrote it out. I was careful. I chose the words. I put down what I thought was the important thing to put in. And I didn't worry about being judged for it or criticized about it. I mean, I do worry hugely, okay? Got a big lump in my throat just telling you that I did it. I do worry, but overcoming the worry, right? Is that the better way to put it? Just overcoming the worries, just letting them go. Letting them go, allowing them to go, not holding on to them and saying, well, if I back out now, nobody will ever know that I tried, and so nobody will ever be able to say, oh yeah, there she is screwing it up again. And today, a lovely thing happened, totally unrelated. I went into Mint Me, and there was a bounty there for sponsor the next chapter of Ember, which, as you know, I'm sure by now, I don't think anybody in the whole world cannot know that Bob Dub is in love with the stories of Ember, the little dragon. Why? Why has it grabbed me? I do not know. I don't care. So I have my own story. I have this book that I am going to be translating into a radio play. Hopefully, by hook or by crook, I'm doing it. Whether or not I do it with funding to get a seed script from Satori D. Why I wanted a seed script was, well, the most part of it is that it's fun. I mean, it's the AI, for goodness sake. For my whole life, people have been talking about the AI, artificial intelligence. Is it real? Can it think? Is it sentient? Whoa, 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 whoa. And I don't care. I don't care. I just genuinely don't care. Today, it's here, and today I'm playing with it. And I have this thing that before I even knew about LLMs, and I talked to Mom about the book, and I said to her when I was doing it was about 2 years, I think, that I read the stories and I put them up on YouTube, and they're so bad. I look back now and I refer people to them and I think, ooh, you know, it's not a reflection of where I am now, but when I did that, and I read the story, I read the chapters, I think I read 3 chapters at a time, and then I did an interview with my mom. So we had the 3 chapters and then the little talk. And I was embarrassed and self-conscious, and I felt stupid, and I was using my mother to help me practice these skills. And okay, the story is that when I was doing that, I said to her, Mum, what would you, what's sort of like your dream? What would you like for this book? And I thought she was going to say, it would be great if the family read it. I don't know what I thought she said. Or it would be lovely if a school would use it. I don't know what I thought. But her answer took me completely by surprise. She said, I would love it to be made into a film. Can I read you? I'm sorry, I have to read you. I have to read you this. Look. Where is it? I want to read it to you and I can't find it. Caught in the crossfire. A daring Red Cross doctor will stop at nothing to save the girl he loves. Oh, me. South Africa, 1900. War rages between raging bands of hardy trek boys, ragtag. Haven't got my glasses on. Oh, me. Right. War rages between ragtag bands of hardy trek Boer civilians and the mighty British Empire. Young Ada is caught in the crossfire. Her only hope? Dr. Felix Warnung, a gallant German doctor attached to the Red Cross, who will stop at nothing to rescue her. But can Felix mobilize the forces needed and the superhuman effort required to save the desperate young woman? While Felix and Ada are irresistibly drawn together, the horrors of war intensify around them. Amidst the senseless mayhem, will the flames of love, kindness, and compassion burn as bright as ever? If you enjoy books of hope, courage, and the human spirit in times of destruction, you will love Liz Godwin's historical fiction romance, Caught in the Crossfire. Oh, yay, my mommy, she's so sweet. She's probably the sweetest person in the entire world. She's somebody who can't say no. You say, please, can you help me? She'll say yes. Doesn't matter if she's got 700 other projects and she's got no time to do anything. She won't turn you away. Isn't that amazing to have a mother like that? I'm so blessed. No. Okay, this is her preface. The Boer War was a different war for many reasons. Seldom has a war been waged with the hot patriotism displayed by the Boers. It was an intensely personal war, with a David and Goliath appeal seldom seen in warfare, and one that scarred the soul of many combatants, with the effects lasting often to this very day. The Boer republics neither maintained nor supported a national army. They were just militia or commandos under their commando leader. The Boers from the republics of the Suid-Afrikaanse Republiek, the ZAR, and the Orange Free State, OFS, were notified by the Commando Law to hold themselves ready for active service at the shortest possible notice. Every burgher between the ages of 16 and 60 had to be ready to fight for his country at any moment. He was to provide himself with a horse, saddle, and bridle, with 30 cartridges and provisions for 8 days, all without pay, just for the love of his country and the determination to protect it. There was no military medical service to support them. In the British Army, the situation was different because a regimental medical officer was allocated to each brigade. He was a medical surgeon, but his duties were more than that. He handled the health care of all the men in his unit. He had 16 regimental stretcher bearers to help and all the medical equipment he needed. Each brigade had its field hospital. In an unfortunate development, the post of the sanitary officer was made redundant during the Boer War, and everyone paid the price, as we shall see as the story unfolds. When war broke out, all European countries and the United States of America declared neutrality. Many people of the countries, however, were not neutral, and they formed the Boer Relief Community, an organization such as the National Red Cross Society. The International Red Cross asked if help was required, and Britain refused. But the two Boer republics accepted and received help from several national Red Cross societies, including the German, Netherlands, French, Russian, and Scandinavian societies. Official figures of the typhoid epidemic revealed that the British force of 556,653 men who served in the Anglo-Boer War, 57,684 contracted typhoid, 8,225 of whom died, while 7,582 were killed in action. As had been the experience in America in the Civil War, the disease was found to occur in the large stationary camps. So that's the preface to the book. So it's quite an emotional roller coaster and a beautiful, beautiful love story. And it ends, I can't tell you, can I? You really don't want the spoilers. It ends with the birth of her baby and her taking its first steps on its first birthday. And it's so sweet because, like, Mother's Day, right? Mother's Day today, and everything good and sweet and lovely and so nice to have a project that I can dedicate myself to so wholeheartedly. And it hasn't been something that came out of me. It's been something that's unfolded around me. Something, I don't know. I just feel so blessed. And I'm so lucky that I have so many people. Even though I can't, I mean, I say I can't, but as I said, things are changing. Things are changing. Things are changing. So that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. I have this wonderful opportunity with Do Better to learn about promoting and managing a social media. I have this amazing opportunity here to work with the LLM to produce. I mean, I know it can be done if we do it, but I would just love to do it with an LLM. for one thing, to prove that it can be done. For another thing, to use the LLM in a way that gives other people the example of what can be done. You know, we can move past this, is it going to destroy us? And we can get to this place where, no, guys, it's not going to destroy us. We are going to take control, not of not only of our own lives, but of our outcomes, of our technology. We've always done it. I mean, people said cars were going to destroy the world. And, okay, I won't go into that. Guys, I think I'm going to leave now. I've told you my exciting news. I could go on talking more blur, blur, blah, blah, waffle. Because you know me, I'm good at that. Yeah, open my mouth and blah, 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 make noises. So bless you. I've always wondered how to say your name. Evelyn. You see, I would have said Evelyn. But Evelina? It's a pretty, pretty, pretty lovely name. Hi, I'm here. Thank you for coming and joining me. Thank you for chatting. Thank you for listening to me. And yeah, and watch this space, because if I can pull it off and we can get the funding, one way or another, by hook or by crook, we're going to be making the radio drama. And after that, if we can, I believe that you can get Blender to generate 3D animations. So imagine if after I'd made the radio play, we need $230. That's my target. I need 230 American dollars in order to buy a seed script. And that will help me. I'll then feed the book. I've got the manuscript, the original manuscript. We'll feed that in. The LLM, without being stupid and sometimes, it will provide us with the script. And then I have somebody who said that they would help me with music track. And then I have this opportunity to learn about Blender and how to generate a 3D. Imagine that, 2025, here I am sitting talking to you about making a movie with me and a group of 5 other people, with a musician and an author and I can't remember, a prompt engineer. Who is funding it? At the moment, my sister and I. My uncle has said it's a wonderful project. My dad has said that he would be able to put in a 10% cut of it. So if we can do this, if we can get accepted with Artisan as a project, then they will match fund half. So whatever we raise, they will match. But I have to be accepted and curated and accepted for that, which means that I have to have over 5,000 votes, which doesn't mean 5,000 people, because if you join Artisan as a supporter, it doesn't cost any money. You join and then they allocate you a certain amount of votes, which you can spread among projects or give to one project. So I think that, yeah, I don't know. And like I was saying earlier, it may not work. But I think the short answer is that it'll be funded by the family, probably. I would have funded it myself until, yeah, Callum got cancer and lost his job and everything. And then actually that I wouldn't have funded it, would I? He would have funded it. But so that's not an option at the moment, which means that we're just, okay, guys. Listen, thanks a lot. I have to go. I've just heard Callum upstairs. He's walking around. We have to leave in about an hour, or a little bit less maybe, to get to his mom's birthday party. 90-year-old, 90 years old on Mother's Day. Isn't that a triumph? Isn't that a wonderful thing? And they asked her what she wanted for her lunch, and she said a prawn cocktail. And I thought, that's my kind of gal. When I'm 90, and I have my 90th birthday, I'm going to honor her by having a porn cocktail. Hey, dude. Hey, Marshall. Thanks. Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for being with me. And I did it. I did a Sunday check-in. I did this. Maybe I will remember and do it again next week. Bless you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to my waffle. And yeah, see you in the chat. Bye, guys. Stop streaming. Thanks. Have a lovely day, actually. Have a wonderful day.